Well, week 9 of the college football season is here. We're rolling right along. Alabama looking to stay perfect in SEC play. Welcome in, everybody. Simone Eli, Matt Stahl joining you for this week's edition of Head to Head. Of course, I want to thank our sponsor, the Alabama Cattlemen's Association, for providing the great content each and every week. Their support as well. Matt, a big week for Alabama, looking to get it done as they go on the road to South Carolina, an opportunity for the Tide to continue their dominance in league play. Alabama right now, undefeated in SEC play, going to a South Carolina team there in Columbia, not exactly what the Gamecocks thought they would be right now at 3-4. Overall, going into this game, where do you feel like things are going to look like on Saturday there between the Gamecocks and the Tide?
Yeah, I mean, South Carolina and Florida are sort of the teams that you look at as like the two big disappointments of the SEC this year. Like
Yeah,
the teams that,
Auburn's probably
before
not
the,
too far off.
yeah, no, well, you didn't think Auburn had a Heisman contender at quarterback.
Good point.
Well, well, maybe Auburn thought he was a Heisman contender. That's sort of the problem with the play. But
He
not,
said
not
it.
to get not to get away from the point here. Yeah, I mean, they've just not been very good, even though they have
Yeah.
Lenora Sellers, who was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC.
Mhm.
Yeah, losing home SEC games, got run out of the park by Oklahoma last week. It's just, yeah, not a good year for Shane Beamer.
It's a wild time right now in college football and all of college athletics, but we've seen so many coaches lose their jobs over the last couple of weeks, Matt. Of course, Alabama in a place completely different hemisphere of any of what that's going on throughout the entire state of the state, so to speak. Alabama gets the big win against rival Tennessee there at Bryant-Denny Stadium. What did you learn about this team, Matt, after that game? What did you feel like the Tide proved in that big one against the Volunteers?
They made a stop on defense at the beginning of the game. That was a big deal. Hadn't done that in I mean a few weeks, and the
Sure.
starts defensively had just been rancid against Missouri and
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. There, like just kind of went down the field against Alabama at will. It seemed
Sure.
like, and I mean that got completely solved. They make the stop. They score a touchdown on their first drive. The scripted drives for Alabama continue to be just excellent stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting into like Steve Sarkisian good territory as far as like
Mm,
scripting up the first like drive or two here. So
sure.
it's yeah, mostly that. They beat a good team. They've been beating good teams, so it's a little light on takeaways from Tennessee, I think, compared to like
Sure.
Missouri and Vanderbilt and Georgia. But like they keep doing it, like there's a
Yeah.
consistency there that I think is probably comforting if you're an Alabama fan.
Yeah, when you look at just kind of where things are at now, of course, it was to wrap up the month of October, which is crazy to think about. Then Alabama will get into kind of the back half of, or the back fourth, I should say, of the SEC schedule with LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois getting away from conference play, and then, of course, the Iron Bowl. This team right now, we weren't really sure what Bama was going to be. And I think that every single week was hey, okay, they're proving a little bit more. They're proving a little bit more. Do you feel like we have gotten more than enough now to say this is a team that's going to contend for a national championship in a couple of months?
Yeah, probably. Like South Carolina is one of the like questions for me on the schedule because if you remember last year, like they won every big game,
Yeah,
right? Like it was the little games that just like things just went
fair
downhill
point.
inexplicably. So
Yeah,
like yeah, if they go to South Carolina and just completely handle business against what looks like a pretty bad team, then yes, I
sure.
mean you should, if you're Alabama, you should win the rest of the games on your schedule, right? Like
Yeah,
Oklahoma's good. They're probably not as good as Alabama. That might be a Styles makes fights game, sort of, where like they're just
sure.
sort of built to beat Alabama. And then I mean you gotta go face interim coach DJ Durkin at Jordan Hare Stadium, which is haunted at the end of the
You
year.
just threw that
So
out there. You just threw
yeah,
that out there with the interim tag, man.
like
Gosh.
I'm not reporting anything, but it is what it is
Well,
over there.
listen,
Uh,
time will tell on the plains, no question. One takeaway I feel like we can talk about when it comes to Alabama's win over Tennessee is the reemergence of Ryan Williams, so to speak. I mean, it felt like all we talked about were drops, 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 and then he makes these miraculous catches that you're like, hey, I would have forgiven him if he wasn't able to get that one done, And it seems like I don't know if there was an adjustment in mindset. What are you hearing from this team this week when it comes to their offensive efficiency and specifically what we saw from Ryan Williams last Saturday?
Yeah, Ryan looked really good. I think maybe it's just like a mental thing. Like, receivers can sort of get the yips at times, right? Like,
Yeah,
as potentially the state of Tennessee's most mediocre tight end my senior year, I got the drops and it was nothing but just like mental. It's like, oh no, I'm not going to catch this pass, and then you don't. And that's, I think, what it sort of was for Ryan, right? Like he talked about
yeah,
it just being a mental something in his way of catching the ball. So, he got on the jugs machine, whatever it was, he worked it out. I mean, they were great catches too. Like Ty was throwing just
yeah,
lasers out there. Like
yeah,
there were a couple where it looked like the ball almost knocked Ryan over.
yeah.
So they were tough catches, but I mean, yeah, him reemerging could be huge moving forward. Especially, I mean, he's one of a bunch of pretty good receivers at this point. Like
Yeah.
Latair Brooks has emerged. Jeremy Bernard is like, I don't know that there's a draft eligible receiver who's been better than Jeremy Bernard this
He's
season.
been great.
So like,
Very clutch when he needed to be kind of that guy. Bama will go into the bye week, which I know I kind of forgot that like that even happens twice in the season now, of course. And when they do go in the bye week, you hope to do it obviously on a win, on a 7-game winning streak. You go into the bye and you feel like you can be in a pretty good place with the back half of what things look like or the final 4 games. Where do you feel like this team is right now? Because I think like we're hearing from Kalen DeBoer, we're hearing from people saying, hey, they haven't played their best football yet. Am I missing something? Like what more do we want to see from the Tide? And of course, you can always nitpick things and you can have a perfect game, so to speak. But I mean, they've been pretty good.
yeah, I mean, you'd like to see the offensive line be better. I think
Yeah,
that's the big thing. Ty, like the reason there's issues with Ty not throwing away the ball is because there's issues with defensive linemen being like right up there on Ty, right? Like
good point.
they're rotating just a ton of guys up there. It seems like they would really like Michael Carroll to be developing as the freshman right tackle more
Yeah.
than he is. He got the start, and then Wilkin Formby wound up playing like a bunch more snaps than him on Saturday. So offensive line, I think, is like going to be your big thing, and then you continue to like to see them just keep starting faster, I think.
All right, Matt, excited for a new segment this week. We're going to call it the Cattle Drive Out of Town. If you're Alabama, who is the Tide looking to drive out of town? Could be a player, could be a coach, could be a fan. What are you trying to get out of town when it comes to South Carolina this week?
Let's go with Dylan Stewart, edge rusher at South Carolina. He's already got like 3.5 sacks this season. Thought he was one of the guys they really anteed up for in the offseason in
Yeah.
order to keep him around. Uh, Obviously, it's not gone so great for South Carolina, but he is still a very, very good player. Alabama has had some issues out at tackle and across the offensive line. So, yeah, he's one who could really have himself a day if Alabama lets him.
Just do some predictions here. It sounds like you feel pretty good about what this is going to look like on Saturday. But if you had to put a score on it, Matt, what would it look like for the Tide against the Gamecocks?
Yeah, say, see, I don't even want to pick them by that much at this point, right? Like, again, it's the kind of game Alabama's had trouble with through
Sure.
the kind of Kalen DeBoer years. So, like, I'm gonna pick Alabama. Let's say, 35-24.
I like it. I mean, I was going to go like, I don't know, 28-10, something like that. I mean, they score a couple once or twice maybe, but I think the Tide rolls. I think that they continue to be in the driver's seat to be in the SEC championship game, and then we'll see what it looks like after that. So obviously a lot of football has to be played, Matt, but right now Bama's sitting in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, on track to go to Atlanta. Just got to
Yeah.
win a bunch of SEC games on the way there. So, like, that's
Hey,
never a
you're right.
given. But
It's never a given.
yes, it's as good as you could have pictured it looking at this point in the season.
Fair to say. Fair to say. Good stuff. Matt Stahl, Simone Eli for this week's edition of Head to Head. We will see you next week as Bama rolls into the bye and then gears up for the last month of the regular season.
Brought to you by Alabama Beef Farmers and Ranchers.